Welcome back to our live studio at Interpack. We hope you had a good start into the new week, and we continue with our program of interesting talks and insights today. It is day 5. People have been streaming into the halls, eager to make the most of this new week and the last days of Interpack. Let's take a look at it, what it looked like this morning, just an hour ago when the fair opened. Strolling into the halls here, filling, what it might actually be right below us, in between halls 7 and 8. People eager to enter the halls and see what's going on, what's on display, all of the new innovations and everything. And we have another short, overview of what it looks like here at Interpack. The social media team of the Interpack captured some of what was going on yesterday. I think you can still see how happy everyone is to be back after 6 long years. And today we will start our program here by looking at sustainability and especially how ProAmpac is tackling this theme. I am joined today by Pellingra, Vice President of, I have to read this out, Global Package Design, Applications and Business Development. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
How does it feel to be back at Interpack after 6 years?
It's so great to be back again. It's, again, the greatest packaging show in the world. So many booths. I remembered this time to bring comfortable shoes for all the walking, and we're excited as ProAmpac to be here.
Yeah, that was one of the main issues in our team as well, what shoes to wear here. Yes. You have brought us a presentation today, and you will talk about the philosophy behind ProAmpac's sustainable products offerings in the proactive sustainability line of packaging. I'm very much looking forward to getting some insights into that. And now the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much. So first, we'll just give a quick little overview of ProAmpac. We are a flexible packaging company. We are North American based, but we have sites here in Europe as well as in North America and a couple in Asia. As you can see, the range of packaging, it's paper products, it's film products, it's roll stock, it's bags, pre-made. It's things that you'll see in the store. You'll carry things out of the store into them. You'll bring home packaging for your pets, for your children, for yourself. Even fresh food to go packaging that you'll pick up at a store or a coffee shop. You'll see all these types of packaging that we produce. And we have 50 sites. Here you can see where we're located around the world. So we pretty much have a site that can support you anywhere here in Europe or in North America. I want to talk a little bit about market trends and what's happening out there. When you think about market trends and what's happening, e-commerce is really growing. More and more consumers are purchasing online or they're ordering at the store to be delivered. And so packaging solutions for e-commerce is key. Sustainability is another one. So sustainability, it's creating packaging that is recyclable. It's creating packaging that reduces the amount of virgin materials. It's things that you can dispose of easily for recycling. And the other areas are safety and security. So how can we make sure when you get a package, you know that nobody has tampered with it in between you and where you purchased that? And also, in doing all these things, functionality and graphics, we have to make sure that this packaging is not only recyclable, it's not only usable, but it looks good on the shelf and consumers can use that packaging. And the key here is designing for each of these trends at the same time, not just designing for recyclability, not just designing for functionality, but combining these trends. And then when you think of sustainability, the zero waste hierarchy is key. So the number one thing that we can do is reduce the amount of packaging that's out there. That's the biggest benefit for the environment. Number two is reuse, and then we move to recyclable. And I think we get a little bit lost in the anti-plastic, or it shouldn't be glass, or it should be glass, or we get lost in the materials, but this hierarchy is material agnostic. It's key that we reduce the amount of packaging, we start reusing it, and then we start designing it for recyclability. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Some of the keys too is if it can't be recyclable at the end, then how can you use other means? Waste to energy or chemical recycling of these products. So first we'll start with reduction. And with reduction, the first thing to do is use less packaging in the first place. I can relate it sometimes to if you were to carry a rock, from here across the room, you have to use a lot of energy. If you carry a pillow across the room, it doesn't use much energy. It's the same with materials and packaging. The least amount of materials is the least amount of energy and the least drain of resources and the reduction in greenhouse gases. And so that's where we need to start from the beginning. And when we look at reduce, one of the biggest ways to reduce is to move from a rigid to a flexible. So you're taking a heavier rigid package, you're replacing that with minimal plastic, you're increasing the product to package ratio. The other part is reducing virgin materials, so introducing PCR, but going from a rigid to a flexible, you are reducing the amount of materials. And the other part that's often missed is secondary packaging. E-commerce is growing. The void fill in that packaging needs to be reduced. And so flexible packages can fit into a smaller space. They're more durable. We're not using some of that secondary packaging. Here's some good examples. You can see off to the left that void fill that we often get when packages are delivered at home, and you're unhappy when you open that because there's so much packaging in there. And so creating packages that aren't as breakable, that don't need all that void fill is key. Moving from rigid to flexible so that they're better suited for e-commerce. You're not shipping around a lot of rigid packages, and you're not shipping those empty packages to the filling site and then shipping them out. So shipping flat is key. And then the other is product waste. So how do we make sure that products are remaining fresh, they're not going bad, and we're getting all the product out of the package? There's a lot of studies that show 10 to 15, 18% of product is left inside packages that you can't get that out of. Here's a great case study that we did for L'Oreal. It was a glass package to begin with. We moved to a flexible package that was digitally printed. This package reduced the amount of packaging by 90%, and it also improved dispensing. So it was a little bit more in that package, fit in a smaller space, didn't need the void fill around the glass. It was a great case study. And when you look at where that hit in the trends, it hit the e-commerce trend, it hit the sustainability trend, and it hit the functionality and graphics because of everything that you could do with that pouch that you couldn't with the rigid. Next, we'll look at reuse. So with reuse, the rigid becomes an appliance instead of discarding that rigid every time. That rigid becomes an appliance that stays somewhere where the consumer is using it, and then you're using the least amount of packaging for a refill. And you're also not only using the least amount of packaging, but you want to design that packaging for recyclability. You want to reduce the virgin materials. And you want to make sure that it's a design that is easy to refill and you can get all the product out of the package. Here's a couple examples. Some of the things that we do sometimes is work with a brand to redesign the product along with the refill package. So it's a concentrate that isn't using as much water. And then the refill, the spout is sized for an easy refill in that product. And we can see, here's a great example of a refill that is using 75% less plastic than the rigid alternative. And let's see how that works. So here's a great example of redesigning the product along with a refill package, so you're not shipping that water around, which is also a lot of waste. We've developed structures that could be recyclable, that can be used for refill products. So monomaterial that could be recycled. Currently in the US there isn't a stream, but in Europe they will collect these spouted pouches. So the key is now designing not only that system for the refill, but a recyclable material for that refill. And that would be our R2000L. L is for liquid. Next, we'll move to recyclable. So the key with recyclables, we want to reuse these materials for the circular economy. You don't want those to drop out. And the key to that is driving towards monomaterials. So we've done a really good job with multi-materials, making sure that they hold the product, that they survive distribution, that they have the right barrier. Now we're building those into monomaterials. And then as you do that, that recyclable material becomes PCR that we can add back into the product. Here's a really wide range of products that we have. When we design for functionality, we're designing for a specific application. So frozen film would need a different recyclable structure than a dry food. We're building in easy tear into these products, so it's easy to open, easy functionality. Larger bags will need to be more durable for shipping. And we're even working on paper-based products for form-fill seal machines or pre-made pouches. It's becoming more and more evident. And a lot of our bags, our paper products, have 100% recyclable material as well. Here's a case study. So the other key to functionality is making sure that you're getting good efficiency on the filling machines. So we design these so that they'll seal at low temperatures, that they have heat resistance on the outside, and they'll run at the same speeds. This product is running at the exact same speed that the non-recyclable product was. It had barrier for a nut product in there for the shelf life, and it'll even run on other machines other than that customers at much higher speeds, which is really key. And the other one is design. So how can you make sure these recyclable materials pop on the shelf and look as good as other products on the shelf? We have a paper touch that gives it a tactile feel, but it also has that color pop on the shelf. It feels different, looks different, which is really key for a recyclable material. And a big growing area is replacing rigid plastic for fresh food to go. More and more people are eating, consumers are eating and grab and go. They're buying things, they're on the run, starved for time, and we see so much of these rigid plastic packages on the shelf, and they only have a label on them. We're moving towards paper-based structures that you can print 100% print on them. They can have windows in the right place. And they have easy peel technology, so you peel off the plastic and you recycle the paperboard. So we're moving towards more sustainable solutions here. And in the future, the entire package could just go in the curbside with some unique clear papers that we're developing. We also want to look at PCR. So for PCR, there's two different types. There's chemically recycled PCR and mechanically. For mechanically recycled, you can only put in so much, 40, 50%. Also, you can't use it for foods in Europe. So in Europe, it's non-food, but in the US, we can use mechanically recycled for food products as well, as, if they're designed properly. With chemical recycling, you can get up to 100%, and it really doesn't interfere with the properties. So often, we're seeing brands look at both chemical and mechanically recycled. There also is post-industrial recycled, where we're taking the waste from our process and putting it back in, so that waste doesn't end up at the landfill as well. So here's a wide range of PCR products. We can put those in retort, we can put them in frozen foods, we can put them in dry foods, we can put them in roll stock, and again, in paper, we can get up to 100% recycled content. Here's a proactive PCR. These are also designed in Europe to comply with the UK packaging tax, the EPR tax credits, so we can help you with products that can reduce that impact on taxes as well. And then our post-industrial, we can put high levels of that into our packaging to reduce the amount of virgin materials that you're using. The other area that we want to look at is compostable. With compostable, there's industrial compost and there's home compost. A lot of folks would like to drive towards home compostable, but there's not a lot of those units out there. Consumers aren't using those. So industrial is almost a better way to start at first. And then you can move to marine compostable, and you just have to think. The barrier for industrial, you can get to higher levels of barrier. For marine, it wants to break down. It's a little more difficult to get to those levels of barrier. We have a wide range, again, of both film and paper-based solutions that are compostable. Some of these are certified compostable. Here's a great story from Botanical Wellness. It's a tea overwrap, and this one is designed and it's certified for compostability. So again, we can do paper-based and we can do film-based. We'll give you a little bit of a fun example of flexible packaging here in a little video. So we'll wrap it up, no pun intended here. And we'll talk about this. Reduce is one of the keys. So how do we reduce materials? Then we want to move to reusable applications, using refill pouches, using that rigid, so you're not reproducing it every time, and that becomes an appliance. Recyclable, so how do we redesign these packages for recyclability? How do we drive the same properties that we see in multi-material into mono-material structures? Adding PCR, so part of that reduce is reducing virgin material, so getting the right type of PCR in the product. One of the keys then too is design. So we don't want to just create packages that are more sustainable, but we want to build in functionality so that consumers have a good experience with that packaging as well. And then key, find a good supplier, make sure that supplier is working with filling machine companies so that it works and runs efficiently on your equipment, and that can help you with not only the design, but the manufacture and the filling of those products. Thank you very much. Please come see us, Hall 10, D21. We're so happy to be back here at Interpack. Great show, great networking, great technologies. Come see ours at the ProAmpac booth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Pellingra. That was a very, very interesting talk. I very much enjoyed that video of yours with the different packagings. That was lovely. Yes, everyone should check out your booth and what you have to offer. Talk some more about sustainability and different packagings. Thank you very much for speaking here today and giving us this insight.